Welcome. The first official talk we're having, right? When you guys are looking at this picture, guys, earlier, before looking at this picture, I have a question for you. When you have someone standing next to you chanting hymn, like Sayyidina was just leading us, right? All the priests, all the servants, and most of you guys, the ones that are still awake after such a long day, what you guys felt like doing when people around you were praising? Hands up, no, I can take quick answers. Yes. Praising, singing, right? Does anyone felt any different other than being tired and lazy and want to go to sleep and want to go to play again? Other than this. So, what do you think this type of feeling is called? Peer pressure. Beautiful. So, quite often, I'll be asking you guys a lot. So I want you guys to pay attention. So whenever it's your chance to talk, lift up your hand, I'll take your answers, okay? So is peer pressure, the first time, or when we just say the word peer pressure, what is the first thing come to your mind? Yeah, Matthew. Copying what your friends do. Beautiful. Yeah, come on, do this. So, what's happening here? Okay, that's great. That's great. Yes. People like forcing you. Interesting. And your parents force you to eat?
Yes.
Okay, I just figured it. But you're right. Actually, you're right. But that's a different type in the personality. This is a different problem, other than just peer pressure. But definitely, I feel forced. Yes. Someone tell you what? I didn't hear. Can you repeat? I didn't hear them. Something told me that there's something I don't want to do. It's great. Guys, can you hear her? If you guys cannot hear her, I cannot hear her as well. So can you? Good and bad. So it's not just always bad, right? Because we just started positively a few minutes ago with Sayyidina. We're all praising and chanting. So it's not always a negative thing, right? Yes. You then Joseph and Open. When you're pressured to do something. Beautiful. Actually, that's by definition, that's against you. Remember a few seconds ago we said that it might be positive, it might be negative. So I'll give you an example. If your friends called you, hey, we're going to the church today, you want to come with us? Is this a positive or negative? Positive. And why it's positive? Why we decide on something, it's positive or negative? Hands up. Yes. Get you closer to God, definitely. So our standards is not what people are saying, right? We're going to go across this in a few seconds. But what defines right from wrong is not what people on the school, not speaking from a spiritual background, not speaking from a biblical strong foundation background are saying, right? This is the people I need to trust to define what's right from what's wrong, based on a solid foundation that's called the Bible, my faith, my tradition, and my liturgical prayer, right? That's where we get all our teachings of the church. Fair enough? Okay. So let's move forward كده شوية because I have a few things I want to show you. This is an example for a bad peer pressure. You guys remember David, the prophet? Old Testament or New Testament? Beautiful. That's a good start. Good foundation. Old Testament. What is the best thing that you know about David? One thing. Mention one thing about David. His heart, according to hearts, David. Beautiful. What else? He was a king. He killed Goliath. I like that one. So one of his sons' name was Solomon. Solomon, in the beginning, he was a good guy, right? You guys know the story of Solomon, King Solomon, right? He was a good guy in the beginning. He was a good king, right? And he had this close relationship with God that when God asked him, ask me what you want and I will grant you. So what did Solomon ask for? Wisdom. Beautiful. And did God grant Solomon wisdom? Definitely. Did that wisdom help him in all his life not to commit sins? He fell short in some stuff. Because sometimes we are pressured, we feel peer pressured, even if we have the top wisdom in the world. So it's not about our own strength. It's about God working in my strength or providing my gift. So let's read here what happened in 1 King. So in 1 King chapter 11 verse 4, for it was so when Solomon was old that his wives turned his heart after other gods. And his heart was not loyal to the Lord his God, and as was the heart of his father David. So when he went old, his wisdom did not work as it intended to be a heavenly wisdom. So his wives, he had many wives, right? That was the custom whatsoever, right? So, and then according to the biblical context, they start pushing him away from the one true God, right? What's the difference? And I won't hands up because this is a tricky question, okay? What's the difference between the word gods in here and God in here? Yes? Okay, that's one. What does that imply? Yeah, that's right. Yes. So this is the one true God that he was supposed to be following after his father's heart, right? Versus the other gods that are not an actual God. That's a man-made things, right? So that's a peer pressure. And that was a peer pressure from the closest person to him, or the closest group of people to him. It's not like he decided to take a friend from the street, a friend from school, or a friend from his kingdom, and start taking advices from them. Absolutely not. It's his closest family. And they start pushing him away. They start getting his heart to work in the wrong direction, or to be attached to the wrong direction. Okay, moving forward. You guys know St. Augustine, right? Who is his mom? Hands up. If you know the name of St. Augustine's mom. St. Monica. Beautiful. So, you guys know there is a very beautiful book I advise you guys to read, which is the Confessions of St. Augustine. Okay? It's beautiful. Okay? Big part, the second chapter, it's about his adolescence age, when he was almost like 16 years old. Okay? He was recalling what was happening in his younger age. So let's read this passage, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful because he ended up being a saint. Doing a mistake does not make you going to or be condemned immediately. No, you still have chance for repentance, and that's what Sayyidina advised you guys earlier. If you see one of the Abuna, grab him from Galilee, tell him, hey, Abuna, I want to talk now. Okay? So I'll read it, but I will be quick a little, so I want you guys to be awake to read it with me, okay? Or to understand. I wanted to carry out an act of theft, and did so, driven by no kind of need other than my inner lack of any sense of or feeling for justice. Wickedness filled me. He had no reason to steal. That's what he's admitting, saying. Okay? Then I stole something which I had in plenty and of much better quality. My desire was to enjoy not what I sought by stealing, but merely the excitement of thieving and the doing of what was wrong. So he was not in need. He had maybe something better other than what he stole, right? There was a pear tree near our vineyard laden with fruit, so attractive in neither color nor taste. It's a tree, regular tree, with regular fruits. No one cared about it. To shake the fruits off the tree and carry off the pears. And I and a gang of naughty adolescents sat up late at night after, in our usual yani time, we had continued our game in the streets. They kept doing it. Him and group of his friends kept doing it. Do they need it? No. Does it actually, even it's appealing? No. Is it tasteful? He's admitting it was not. Look at the last statement. We carried over of a huge load of pears, but they were not for our feast, but merely to throw to the pigs. Even if we ate a few, nevertheless our pleasure lay in doing what was not allowed. Wow. Did he need it? No. Was it useful for him? No. Did he have? He was admitting earlier that he might have plenty of it. That was even better than what he was stealing. But there's a catch in here. I and a gang of naughty friends, I will call it friends, right? In another paragraph, he was saying, and this is about the pure peer pressure. And he mentioned, but I didn't want to put it here on the screen for the sake of the screen size. He was saying that I get afraid of not following my friends that I see, compared to being afraid of God that's judging me and looking at me. So I was more afraid to say no to my friends next to me, rather than saying no or being ashamed of something that God is telling me not to do. He knows it, right? But again, the peer pressure, what did to him? It changed his standards. Who he is following. That was the problem. Did he know the standards? Yes. Did he know what's right from what's wrong? Yes. Did you guys know what's right from what's wrong? Most likely, I hope yes. You guys have been well rooted in the church, so by now you should know what's right from what's wrong. From a biblical standpoint point of view, right? Do we apply it to the dot? That's where the question mark goes. Are we supposed to apply it to the dot? Yes. It's a big yes. And we're going to go across this in a few seconds. Okay? So you guys get the point of St. Augustine, what was happening in his younger age, and he grew up to be a saint. And one of the famous saints that we quote from, and when we look at his journey in life, we contemplate a lot about his repentance journey. It's beautiful. Imagine what's the top thing that prevents you guys from confessing today? What's that? If I ask you, hey, why you don't confess?
Camp.
Where's that? Fear. And guilt, shame, right? That's how I feel, because I feel that Abuna will judge me, which is not true. It's not going to happen, it will never happen, right? St. Augustine got his confessions in a public book. He wrote it down in a book for people to learn. You see how far he went in his journey? Not just, hey, Abuna, I don't know, should I say this or not, Abuna? Okay? No, he actually wrote it in a book. An actual book that's full of a few chapters. Christians and their place in the world. Because I have kids, and they go to school. One of them is in high school, and the other one is in intermediate school, or like 6th grade. Right? And are they being challenged with a ton of stuff in school? Yes, same like you guys. I mean, I live in the same society like you guys. So when we have a discussion, should we, hey, everyone in the school is doing that. That's the beginning of a peer pressure statement. When we start saying, everyone is doing it. Why you or mom are telling me not to do it? Right? Everyone in my school nowadays are dating. Why are guys against it? Why? Everyone is hanging out, doing whatever they want, coming back whenever they want. Why you keep telling us no? The statement is starting with everyone is doing it. Right? Aren't we part of this everyone? No. Take and all. Aren't we a regular people like the people who see in the street? Yes. Are we equally created like them? Yes. So what makes it different between me and the people walking next to me in the street or school? Our faith. Believing in God. Our actions. Beautiful. So you guys get it. The catch is you guys are getting it. So when I start my statement with everyone is doing it, and then we start getting angry with our parents because they're just saying no. Because we don't take no for an answer nowadays. We don't like no. By the way, no one likes to be told no. That's a fact. Because when I ask something, I'm expecting to receive. Right? Even it happened in our prayers. When I pray about something, I'm expecting God to say yes. I pray about passing an exam, expecting to pass the exam. Praying to have electric scooter on Christmas, expecting to have the electric scooter or Xbox whatsoever. So whenever I'm asking something, I'm expecting yes. But what happens is, since we are pressured by the wrong ideas, we're still expecting the yes, and when it doesn't happen, how we react? Attitude. We start giving attitude, right? Because simple no is being told to us. So let's see our position as Christians in the world. First, it's clear that Christianity is not and has never been the mainstream style of living in any society in history. Let's take this statement because it's a dangerous statement. Let's clarify here for a second. Have Christianity, have Christ, have people following Christ, have the top authority in the world since Adam till today? Who were they are authoritative upon themselves, their faith, and their practice, right? Usually what's happening, and you guys see it in the society nowadays, and even in schools, right? Different schools, different areas, different restrictions, different ISDs apply different principles, right? What type of books are allowed in the classes? What type of discussions is allowed to be discussed in the classes? You're not supposed to be speaking about God in the class. If a teacher is doing it in a public speaking, most likely that teacher is revoking his license, or his license is going to get revoked or being terminated. So most likely, the world around us today is not helping us practicing our Christianity, right? And then people are coming to say, hey, you want to be our friend? You should participate with us. Come with us. But remember, the word is not helping. So people are pressuring me to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. Second statement. It's also evident that since the beginning, the whole world has been dominated by evil, whether in thoughts, action, leadership, or even in ministries, as with some cases. So the devil is working his way in us in different ways. Right? Our temptation starts from where? Does the devil come and push us to commit a sin? No. No. How the devil work it through us? That's a hard question. Again, just pause for a second. Does the devil push me to commit a sin? Or force me to do a sin? So how it works? What is that? Step by step. Beautiful. And what's usually the first step?
No.
Thoughts. Beautiful. So I have what I call hands down. So I have what I call internal peer pressure. It's not always an external thing from a friend. Right? As you guys just mentioned, the devil worked his way through us, starting internally, right? And then people around us are pushing us to follow their actions, correct? So we have an inside or inner peer pressure, which is our thoughts, the devil working through our minds, right? And external peer pressure from people around us. So we need to be watchful for this, okay? Next, we have few verses in here. Because again, we don't speak of our own analogies. It's all from the Bible. Okay? In Luke 10:3, Jesus Christ said, "Go your way. Behold, I sent you out as lambs among wolves." What this verse implies? What do you get from this verse? Wolves are society. Getting attacked. Beautiful. Beautiful. What else? What's one of the look? You are in a vulnerable position, right? That's what you're saying. So let me recorrect just part of your statement, right? What is the only thing that will protect a lamb from a wolf? Shepherd, beautiful. So when Christ is likening me to a lamb, he's not saying that I'm weak. He's not saying that I'm vulnerable. He's actually saying you are strong as your shepherd. So if you want to prevail, you should follow the shepherd. You want to walk in your own, you're carrying the weight on your shoulder by yourself. Right? Next verse. If you were of the world would have loved its own. Yet because you are not of the world, but I choose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Hates is a big word in here. Right? So, does we belong to earth or heaven? Beautiful. How many of you guys here want to be an accountant when you grow up? What's an accountant? How many of you guys want to be an engineer when you grow up? I didn't want to put this in the beginning for some reason. I tried. Okay. How many of you guys want to be a doctor when you grow up? Oh, so much loans in here. Too much loans to count in here, right? Okay, hands down. Beautiful. How many of you guys want to be a dentist when you grow up?
Michael!
Guys.
Michael!
Did I get your attention now? Thank you. How many of you guys want to be a lawyer when you grow up? Beautiful.
What do you say?
With lawyers. Beautiful. So we need some of you guys in the diocese when you grow up. Okay? Okay, guys. So, if you want to attach yourself to a certain profession or a certain career, do you go to sleep and wake up a doctor?
Yeah.
No, that's daydreaming. That's called daydreaming. Pure daydreaming. Okay? Success. Okay? So for you, shabab, when you're trying to achieve something in life, do you sit down and you just dream about it and daydream about it? Allah, لو أنا دكتور النهارده. This kind of things? Or you actually have a life path to go through? And with this life path, shabab, guys. And with this life path, we have duties on our shoulders, right? For you to become a doctor, that's like anywhere between 10 to 15 years of study, تقريبا, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? If you want to be a lawyer, 6 to 8, 10 maybe, depending on how fast you are. Engineer, 4 to 5, and you might start. So that's why I go for engineering. But anyway. So what I'm trying to say here is, my action is being dictated by my goal, right? My actions are being dictated by my goal. If you want to be a soccer player, you're not going to go practice ping pong, right? Now it makes sense, right? Now you guys get the idea. Guys. So in here, Christ is telling me, I am not of this world. Sure, guys. So if I'm not of this world, so I belong to a different entity, a different environment, right? So for me to be able to be at that goal, I have tasks to fulfill, right? And these tasks are being dictated by the Bible and by Christ himself, okay? So if I'm not of this world, I have tasks to fulfill. Let's move forward. Does this imply that we should try to achieve total separation from society that since we don't belong to and are rejected by? What do you guys think? If this society Hey, I want you guys to listen before answering. We agreed earlier that big part of the society, most of the society, does not help me in my spirituality. That's a fact, right? And I do not want to feel peer pressured. So should I isolate myself from that society? How many of you guys say yes? Hands up, no talking. No, seriously, I mean, it's a whole question. How many of you guys say that we should separate ourselves from the society? Since it's not helping us. Okay, hands down. How many of you guys think that we should still stay in the same society? So the rest are in heaven already. Most of you guys are already in heaven. That's great. That's not a wrong thing, by the way. So let's try to understand it, to let you guys understand the concept. Our rule in life is simple. Christ, when he was being challenged or asked, what's the top commandment in the Bible? He said it's one, which is love. But this love can be practiced toward two parties. The top party is love who? God from all your hearts and all your minds. And the second one is the same like the first one, but it's called love your neighbor. How to love your neighbor? As you love yourself. Beautiful. So if, Shabab, guys, the more you talk, the more I'll pause, the longer it's going to be. So this is how it works. Okay? So if me loving myself, following the previous commandments or the previous statement that we are not of this world and we need to be with God permanently, right? So I should care about others being in heaven like me. Care, right? That's called loving one another. How to practice it is different from a person to a person, from a society to society, from a profession to a profession. It differs from a situation to another. But my caring and love for the salvation of my neighbor is unquestionable. Okay? So I'm meant to love everyone. I'm meant to care about everyone. And this love is an active love. Okay. I'll tell you a famous thing. How many of you guys have a younger sibling? Hands up, I don't want to talk. No?
I am the younger sibling. Okay, I'll call my daughter.
Okay, hands down. How many of the people that have a younger sibling are hitting their younger siblings? It's a question. It's not
You talk
a...
about the window right now. I am the younger sibling. I am the one who gets paid.
Okay.
Talk the
Okay.
window.
Guys, hands down. Hands down. By the way, I'm not saying this is right, okay? I'm asking, this is a public confession, so the next time you're attending a liturgy, you're getting absolution because you're confessed, but it needs repentance. Okay? So let's move on. Does your younger sibling understand that you love them by hitting them? No. Definitely not. Guys, hands down, hands down, hands down.
I'm on the face, you're done.
Okay. What I'm trying to say here, Shabab, guys. What I'm trying to say in here, your action dictates your feelings, right? So if I'm meaning to hurt others, so here I have one of two scenarios. Either I have a lack of control on my actions, or I truly don't like the other person. That's why my actions are not that great. And in case of your brother or sister, that's not a possibility that you don't love your brother or you don't love your sister. So actually, we do love them, right? Since we do love them, our action need to go hands in hands. That's our position in the society. When Christ told me in the Bible to love my neighbor the way you love yourself, so I need to care for my neighbor, not just isolate myself. If it's just about isolation, I mean, why do we have Sunday school where we gather? Why we say, yeah, it's fine to go to schools, colleges, and things like this. We should have stayed in the church, copy the model of the first church, everyone earning anything, bring it to the church, and then we have major buildings in the church, right? And we live in the on campus. ما بقتش church بقى, هتبقى campus, right, Abuna? And it's gonna be a huge campus, not a church anymore, right? So again, think about it this way. I am meant to love everyone actively, not just feeling. If I have an option to do something to help people around me, I will do. Next. So let's conclude what we said. You are meant to be the light of the world. What is the function of light? See, shine. So my position in the society is to shine in the society, not to follow the darkness in the society. Right? If someone around me making the poor choice in the wrong time, using the wrong methods, utilizing the wrongful resources, I am not to help him in that essence. I am not meant to follow him. I'm meant to tell him what's right from what's wrong. Okay? So conclusion one, we, the Christians, are not of the world, but we are needed in the world. Okay? Without light, it's all darkness. So you guys don't underestimate your position as Christians living in the world. Without you guys, it would have been dark. Right? Without we, or you guys as Christians in your school, in your society today, the world would have been dark. That's why the Bible called me the light of the world and the salt of the earth. Because I give taste and I enlighten others. Okay? Second point, and I'll go fast and short. Why Christians are exposed to peer pressure? It's a question and I'm looking for an answer. Why specifically? Do you think everyone in the school is subjected to peer pressure?
Yes.
It's a give and take. Yes and no. Okay? But since we are Christians, speaking in a Christian retreat, in a Coptic on the Coptic Orthodox diocese, we're trying to evaluate our position today. Are we exposed intentionally to peer pressure or not? Hands up if you think yes. Okay, hands down. Hands up if you think no, it's across the board, it does not matter if we're Christian or not, we're just being peer pressured. Okay, so we understand that our position, that we are being called or we are being picked upon. Let's try to understand it. Anyone, let's say if I told you guys all here, don't do this. Stand up and leave. I said don't do it. Okay? Does this make the action of the group right? Let me add another statement. I didn't finish the topic now. I'm still talking, right? And we're still here. And most of you guys decide, hey, I want to taking like 3 hours in the discussion, right? It's not gonna happen, trust me, I'm just saying. So you guys decided to stand up and leave, right? Usually, within that group that's leaving, there is a leader, right? Someone hoping his friends, hey, I'm sleeping for forever, let's get out of here, right? Does this sound like the first slide that we mentioned earlier? So, people around me, most likely, they will push me to do the wrong thing at the wrong time based on their definition of right and wrong. Does it make sense? So, it's not right for us to stand here 3 hours for a 1 o'clock. Yeah, who said it's right? Right? But again, let's try to redefine something. Who decide what's right from what's wrong? God, Bible, tradition, and my liturgical prayers, right? Okay. So, we as Christians, we have values that we're standing to, right? How many you think in your school will say that lying is wrong? Other than the Christian guys, which we know it's a commandment. That's great. Someone say it's a white lie. Beautiful. Okay. So I'll pause in here because that's what I was looking for, to be honest. So sometimes people, okay, will use what so-called white lie to justify their lying, right? Yeah, it's just a white lie, right? Do you think a white lie, who cares for a white lie? As if when we're standing in front of God, he's saying, yeah, this is a white lie, this is a purple lie, this is a black lie, and now I need to repent from every color of lying, right? And then I get candles from my father confession about every color of lying, right? Hey guys, okay. So, right and wrong, we know it from the Bible, right? And we will often feel pressured to follow someone's mistake. Okay? Like life. Okay. How many of your friends, I'm not asking you guys, because I know you guys don't do this. Okay? Hopefully. How many of your friends cheat in homeworks and schools? Right? So, does this make it right, guys? Hands down. Hands down, let me continue. Hands down. Thank you. Does this make it right? No. But it's beneficial. I'll get grades with least amount of work. Who cares? I'm gonna get my parents off my shoulder if I get a higher grade in here, right? If I get this less than a certain grade, most likely I will be punished by not using my electronics for a month, for a week, or for whatever the grading period is, or until my grades is up. So let me just figure out my way. I'm not saying that you guys are doing it. I'm saying that the other people that does not have the commandment of do not steal, because you're stealing someone else's work, right, are doing it. And they're trying to get you to be on the same page with them, right? As if now cheating became the normal in the society. Everyone cheat everywhere. You go for a college, guys, yeah, come on, you know, it's a big room, right? You go for high school, the same thing. You go for middle school, even the same thing. It reached the point, and I'll tell you guys something, it breaks my heart when I'm saying it this way, but it reached the point that we don't even consider it a sin that we need to confess about, or repent from, or even fight. Because to work on a sin, I need to repent. Repent means to fight. Fight means to stop it, or trying to stop it with God's grace, right? The society around you guys nowadays is changing our minds that it's okay as long as you don't get caught, right? It's okay as long as you gain what you gained. And unfortunately, we as Christians, what we do, we're copying. Because we are being peer pressured to do the same thing like others, okay? So, since Christians do not belong to the world, they will always feel peer pressure. Because we always have, I'm not going to say different standards. We have biblical moral standards according to what God had given us. Right? And since people are not following it, so we're always going to be under the spot. I spoke about this, peer pressure, about internal and external. So conclusion number 2. Since we, the Christians, are not of this world and don't belong to it, we are different. And that in turn causes us subject to peer pressure. Since we are different, people does not like people to be different from them. Okay? If everyone is doing something, they want everyone to copy them. Fair enough? Okay. Third and last point. I promise you'll get 5 more minutes. How about the expectation from us as Christians? Since we are subjected to peer pressure, whether we like it or not, and we are not of this world, so what is the expectation from us? Okay? Does God expect us to be perfect? I want hands up if you think yes. Hands up if you think God wants us to be perfect. Expect and want. Okay, so Guys, hands down, hands down. What do you say? Okay. What do you guys think? Guys, if you're not hearing him, I cannot hear him. So please help me to hear him. Yes. So he's expecting us to be perfect. Actually, give him a round of applause because he remembered that verse. Seriously. So the answer is yes. But there is always a catch about this yes. Okay? Do you guys remember the parable of the talents? That the master gives talents to servants, and he expected them to excel in the talents that they're being given. Right? So a servant was being taken how many talents? 5. Another servant is being taken 2. And the last servant is being taken 1. Is this unfair from God? No. He gave everyone according to their capacity, according to what they can excel in. Okay? So the guy with the 5 talents, was he perfect in his 5 talents? Yes. He won another 5. How about the person with the 2 talents? Yes. Were both being judged equally? Yes. Because they performed in the assigned task to them. Right? Guys. How about the person with the 1 talent? Did he invest in it? No. He put it in the ground. He got scared not to lose it. Right? So we are being expected to be perfect, yes, based on the talents that God has given us. Right? If God have bestowed upon me His mercy and His grace, and I feel I have certain talents in my life, I'm expected to be perfect in those talents. Because the Bible told me so. Something I was just telling to someone yesterday. Do not settle for less. You guys understand what does it mean, do not settle for less?
Yes.
If I can aim for perfection with God, why I will accept less? Why it's fine? Hey, I attend liturgy once a week. Yeah, that's fine. That's fair enough. If you have the chance to attend 2 or 3 or 5 or even every day. What's up? You guys are getting the point? I know you guys are not driving your cars, so it's most likely your parents driving you to the churches. I get that part. But what I'm trying to say is, based on the talents that you receive from God, you're expected to invest in them all. And as Christ said, I want you guys to be perfect. That's the whole idea of me coming to you guys. My job is here is to help you become in this perfect status with me. Okay? So expectation from Christians, he who does not carry his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. That's another expectation. Do you think when you are being bullied in school because you stand to the right values, do you think this is something is not being taken in consideration by God? Definitely not. It's taken in consideration. Because if we talk about cross means something heavy on your shoulder. When you're trying to stick to the right choice at the right time, quite always what people are going to do to you, because this kind of things, laughing at you. And then we go to a party, or like people going to parties, and you guys going to high school soon, right? And you guys, the environment in high school, and parties, and things, and outings, and things like this is way more than what you guys are facing in middle school today, right? Let's say there's a big party, one of the common church parties, or what is being so called, right? And then, I feel I should go. People are telling me, hey, when are you coming to this party? I don't want to name any party, because most likely you guys are going to see it in the next few years, right? Everyone, and then now we go to our parents. Remember earlier going to the parents, telling them, yes, hey, we have this party at school, I will go. I want to go. And then we start the next statement after Baba or Mama say no, because they don't know it, or they don't agree in it. Then our response is, Everyone is going. And this statement of everyone is a sign of peer pressure, that we're failing under peer pressure. When I start my statement by everyone is doing it, most likely, I would say 99%, not to be exclusive again, 99%, we're being pressured or failing under peer pressure. So, second one, he who loves his father or mother, son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And I want you guys to understand this verse correctly. Do you think Jesus will advise us not to love our parents? Definitely not. Definitely not. It's a big no. Okay? Even God in the Old Testament, one of the commandments was honor your parents. So how come? And Jesus said, I didn't come on earth to give you guys a new commandment. I came to upgrade you. So definitely, honoring my parents is not going to be expiring by this verse. Right? But he's making us to understand an important concept. I love God first, and every love or every caring after that come later. As long as I'm governed, or my heart is governed by the love of God, I should be in the good place. So love God from all your hearts. The third one, we ought to obey God rather than men. Every time you're being peer pressured, challenged to do something, and all these silly challenges that you guys do in schools nowadays, and even TikTok and all these kinds of things, when you feel that you're being challenged to do something, recall this verse, Acts 5:29. We ought to obey God rather than man. If God said, love your enemy, I'm not going to hate my enemy. If Bible said, respect your parents, I will respect my parents. If the Bible said, do not lie, I'm not going to lie. Because I am meant to obey God more than man. I want, if anything you guys want to remember from this, I want you guys to remember this verse. Acts 5:29. Acts 5:29. We ought to obey God rather than men. Last conclusion, as Christians, we will go through tribulations in many forms. People will be picking us because we're not going with their standards. We're not lowering our standards to accept theirs. So people will be picking on us. Are we supposed to hate them? No. We're supposed to show them love in a respectful manner. And if they give you hard times or bullying or whatsoever, you have the right to stand to yourself peacefully, respectfully, not responding anger with anger, not responding evil with evil. Okay? We must, through many tribulations, enter the kingdom of God. Remember that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. Means, if Christ carried a cross, and he is my master, and I am his servant, I am not of a higher state than him. So if he carry a cross, I will carry a cross, because I'm not better than him. Okay? Exam. And I want you guys, I want hands up there, because we're closing out literally in 1 minute. Okay? Just a few pictures in here. So who knows this picture is for? I want hands up. No, hands up. No. Adam and Eve. The question is simple. Do you know the story about Adam and Eve? Okay. Was that an example of a good peer pressure or a bad peer pressure? Bad. Beautiful. Okay. I got few of those. So the more you guys talk, the more I will talk. Okay? Thank you. This one is hard. Hands up if you know it. Hands up if you know it. Joseph. Beautiful. It's a Joseph. Was this a good peer pressure or a bad peer pressure? Did he succeed or not? Why? No, I cannot hear. Sorry about that. He did not give in. Beautiful. I love the way how you said it. Because he did not give in. Next. How about this one? Noah and the ark. What was the peer pressure? Hey, guys. What was the peer pressure around him when he was building the ark? Imagine. People making fun of him. Why you're building this on the floor? Did he give in? No. So did he succeed against bad peer pressure? Yes. Okay. Next. How about this one? This one is a hard one. If you know it, raise your hand. Don't talk. Don't talk, please. To respect the people that know the picture. What is that? No. This is a very hard one. See it?
Whatever people are selling.
People are selling? No. It's not people are selling. Hey guys. Yes. Peter, beautiful. That's a round of applause. This is the hardest picture actually. Okay. So, guys. Yes, I told you I want to finish in 1 minute, so please give me that 1 minute so I can finish. Okay? So, Peter, when he was outside while Jesus are being judged inside, did he fail the peer pressure or he succeeded the peer pressure? Fail. He denied Christ. You're one of his disciples. No, I'm not. Right? So, I'm so proud of you guys that you get this one. Next one. How about this picture? Hands up if you know it. Hey. Wait. Jesus being whipped. It's partially true, but this is not what the picture is going for. Yes. What is that? Jesus in front of Pontius Pilate. That's beautiful. Good job. Okay, so now the situation we're evaluating. Shabab, please. I'll take care of that next one. So did Pontius Pilate fail under peer pressure or succeeded under peer pressure? Failed. Beautiful. So let's get it. How about this one? Hands up if you know. Hey. Say hands up. No thumbs up. Someone didn't speak. Hey, Khalas, I got someone speaking. Thank you. So, who is leading them in doing this? No. He got it. Yes, Aaron. So, did Aaron succeeded or failed under peer pressure? In this situation, yes, he failed under peer pressure. And the last one, how about this? It's a major. Yes. Hey. Shabab Sadani is last name. Trust me, it's last name. Yes. What is that? So, do you know their names? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So, to close it out, did they succeed in peer pressure or not? Yes. It's a big yes. And I will give you a proof. Shabab, guys, Sadoni, I want to respect your time, so I want to finish. So, since they succeeded in their peer pressure, how do we honor them today? We call them saints. There's something that we do almost every day for them. Midnight praises. What is that? Arif Salim. Beautiful. So since they succeeded the peer pressure, everyone was around them, was telling them follow. They said no. We put the church honor them as an example for everyone. Okay? So are we to be called bad friends if I don't follow people's standards? No. Am I to be called that's, hey, Protect yourself. You're not dressing like us. You're not talking like us. You cannot speak with us. You cannot be my friend because you cannot speak like me. Should I give in? No. I have a biblical standard to stick to. I'm sorry guys, I took extra time, but I hope you guys, if you guys want to remember anything from today, it's one verse. Or it's called Acts 5:29. We ought to obey God more than men. Thank you. Hey guys, stay still. Stay still. Stay still. Oh, you have a question? Okay. Shabab, guys.